a huge one for Lawson.
An action-packed Atlanta. Huge shakeup in the playoff standings. Who fell, and how did Joey Logano find his way to victory lane?
That's how we start the playoffs, boys!
Welcome to a new episode of NASCAR Inside the Race, presented by Consumer Cellular. I'm Drew Blickensderfer, crew chief of the 10.
And I'm Travis Peterson, crew chief of the 34. Drew, Atlanta was pretty exciting. Not very much for us. We had pretty bad days in the end, but Joey Logano wins the race. We're going to dive into that. There was some chaos in pit road, big shakeup in the standings, a lot to dive into today.
Yeah, we had our hands full, but we were crashed out, so I got to watch a pretty exciting end of the race.
Yeah, I wasn't close enough to front to watch, so let's go see what happened. We wanted to start with the final restart, green, white, checkered, and two teammates lined up, and I think that's going to be a huge factor.
Yeah, we're going to have a one-lap race to the finish here because the caution's going to come out, but how did we get here? There's a couple cautions before that presented itself to kind of create the two teammates starting up front.
The 12 almost wasn't there after having winning stage one, I think second in stage two.
That's right.
He almost gets completely taken out of the race right here with the 17 car having an issue.
Yeah, I thought the 12 car was a really fast car early in the race, and you never know until they go to the back. But you see here, Chris Buescher gets loose a lot like that 5 car, overcorrects, gets into the 12 car. The 12 gets damage, but it's not significant damage. Thankful for that 12 team. They were able to rebound nicely.
The 19 car has a pretty good angle of this. We're going to watch here. Just pause it right at the start. We got the 12 car right here, the 17 causes the wreck on the bottom. We'll go forward here and watch what happens. Very similar, like you said, to the 5. 17 gets sideways, 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 corrects. Instead of just going straight into the outside wall, he's got Ryan Blaney to catch him a little bit. Probably helped 17 not hit quite as hard as the 5.
Exactly. You see the tire mark right behind the left rear, and then Martin Truex hits him right in the door number. No damage to the wheels, and that was the most important thing. His toe, his camber, all of the settings that take so long to get right on these race cars, they're still going in the right direction.
Yeah, a couple key points from where this thing freeze framed, like you just talked about. You have this door donut right there, nothing on the wheel, and then wreck back here at the quarter panel. But not only that, we just watched the 99 car come sliding by, and the 22 car. These two guys are the ones looking at the front at the end of the race.
Exactly.
Crash avoidance is always a huge part of it at the speedways.
That's right. That's one reason these two pairs of teammates lined up on the front row.
So we saw the 12 had his damage, had come in and work on it a little bit. Like you said, wheels are all straight, everything's fine. He's got to come back through the field. Luckily for him, he had a good race car and he was able to do it. We're going to watch here a couple of the key passes he made to get his way back to the front. Yeah,
there's a lot of race cars that up front, they drive okay and you can stay up there. When you go to the back, they get stuck. And your car drives bad, you can't make your way to the front. He's going wherever they're not. He can run the wall, he can run down to the apron, he can go wherever the car in front of him is not at and make his way back to the front. You see him here go 3 wide in the middle and clear through the corner. It was very hard, believe me. Someone that was running mid-pack all day long, it was very hard to make a complete pass through the corner like that. It usually took multiple corners, and the 12 was able to do it. So not only was his car very fast in qualifying, very fast up front, but it was driving really well.
And I think that's going to be another key factor in a few of the final restarts we watch here, because you can see at this point that we've stopped it, another caution's coming out. The 1, the 12, 22, and 99, they're all at the front. They're not together. But the 12's strength is going to play a factor in the end of the race here.
For sure.
So lap 255, 5 to go. We had a restart. This is about 2 laps into it. You can see all the guys we're talking about. 12's right here. 1's right here. 22. 99 is passing for the lead off of a push that the 22 gave him. But how are these guys all going to get lined up? Because that's the key factor. We got to watch what happens here going forward.
Yeah, in a couple hundred yards here, you see this blue car is going to line up right behind the 99. The C's part for him. He goes down to the middle. The outside is probably the preferred lane here. You've got the 54 who's leading the race, the 22 who's always strong at speedways and been strong all day. Ross Chastain in any other scenario is staying right in line there and passing the 99 down the front stretch. And not in the playoffs, the 1, he's going to go behind his teammate who's in the playoffs, the 99, and give him a strong push out here to at least contend for the race lead.
Yeah, right here we've reached the moment that we have all those guys lined up. The 54 is leading the race, and we're going to watch how he loses the control of the race right here. But just like you said, 1 car pushes the 99 because he's not in the playoffs. 12 car coming back through the field. He's got a ton of points already on the day. He came in with a ton of points because he finished, 4th in the championship at the end of the year. So he's going to push the 22 car.
Yeah, and this is happening so fast. Ty Gibbs doesn't even realize he's got 2 sets of teammates running the middle and the top behind him probably. He's going to the bottom to block what he thought was a better run. He gets way out front. And then you see the 1 and 99 get a huge push, the 12 and the 22 get a huge push, and Ty doesn't have anywhere to go. He was so far out front, whether he checked up to get into the corner to make sure he hit his line, or whether they just got a huge run behind him. He was a sitting duck right there.
Tough deal when you got 4 pairs of teammates behind you, but you're going to see right here the bottom just not as strong, especially once 3 wide. The 4 guys we're talking about, they're going to come out in the lead. Another caution's going to come out and set up the final restart. Right there, it's those 4 cars race to win.
And when we talk about the 12 car being so strong, you'll see this as this replay plays out here. The 12 can stay so tight to the 22 through the corner. The 1 is having some struggles doing that, and that gives the 22 such an advantage here going against the 99, who I thought was the 99 and the 12 were probably the 2 strongest cars. The problem with the way it all laid out was the 99 needed someone just as strong as the 12 behind him.
Yeah, through turn 1 and 2 on the restart, easy wide open because you're not up to speed yet.
That's right.
But as we're heading down into 3, you mentioned this earlier, I think a key moment comes right about now. The 12 car leaves this little bit of a gap to the 22. It's not a lot, but he's trying to get some amount of clean air on his nose and corner entry. And the 1 car here, nose to tail, super tight.
Yeah.
I think that's going to play out right here.
That's right. And what you see right in here is you see the 1 car wash up a little bit. He kind of loses the middle lane. He washes up because he's trying to get air on his car to make the corner and not hit the wall. You can see him kind of leave the bottom, go up the racetrack a little bit, trying to get air on the front of his car so he can get back wide open to get to the 99's bumper. The 12 car is so strong. He gave himself a little bit of a gap, so much tighter right there. That distance right there, that's the difference down the front stretch. It's 3 times closer than the 1 is. So that 22 is going to get a giant run down the front.
Yeah, so we're watching right here. 12's got a run on exit. This is where it gets interesting to those teammates. Who do you think he's going to pick, the 99 or the 22?
I think if it was anybody besides a Penske car on the front row here on the inside, the 12 is going to the outside and clearing that car with the 99 and battling the 99 for the win. But like we talked about earlier, the 22, the 12 teammates, they're hoping they can clear each other off turn 2 and they can race maybe through 3 and 4 into the start-finish line for a victory, but they don't quite clear each other so that they can do that. The 99's,
which is a bit of a key factor. A win's huge for everybody. Even though the 12 had a great points day, he's going to be 44 or something like that up. He might, if he's clear right there, lay back and try to get a run on the 22, settle it between themselves. The 99 getting side by side with them pretty much locks the 22 out front.
That's right. And Joey's being a good teammate here. He's shading down the racetrack to try to help his teammate. You've been friends with me for the last handful of laps. I'm going to help you try and get by the 99 to finish second.
Yep, and that's it. We're going to come off the corner here. A bunch of carnage behind. A lot of that was the theme of the day. We're going to see a bunch more carnage on pit road in the next segment.
Hey race fans, Corey the Joy here. Join Ryan Flores and myself for Stacking Pennies each week. I'll break down my race and explain what happened right out of my windshield.
Plus, we award the Dogs of the Week for the best pit crews and go in-depth on all the money stops, pit road mistakes, and penalties.
And we've got a ton of guests. We have SVG stopping by. We had Ricky Stenhouse after he punched Kyle Busch in the face. We've had Bubba. We've had all sorts of guys in here in the Nonsense Garage, so you do not want to miss it. Check us out on Sirius XM Channel 90, YouTube, or wherever you find your podcasts. Each and every week, Stacking Pennies. That's what's up.
Atlanta races like a super speedway, but it's only 1.5 miles. Daytona, Talladega, they're 2.5 miles plus. But pit road, because it's only 1.5 miles, much tighter, which means chaos, and we saw it on Sunday.
Yeah, and that size track doesn't usually see the stops we see, the right sides or fuel only, and guys leaving their box while guys are still coming down pit road. And like you said, it certainly got exciting. Let's jump in here, lap 115, whole field coming down pit road. We're going to get a pause here in a second to make sure, because big pit road, you're going to see throughout these clips several times front and back down pit road. A lot happens. But right here is where we're looking at. Gets exciting.
There's a lot of cars in there already. I mean, 38 cars on pit road, that's not normal most weeks, no matter what racetrack size.
Got the 44 or 45 getting into the 77 there. 19 car coming out. Man, is he close to one of the pit crew guys there. It's just tight the entire time. Fuel only on a couple of these guys. They're coming off. Kai's merging. Oh, right into his door.
Right into the door number with the right front. The 43's checked up, waiting to get out. The 19, wow, that is close. There are guys right in here that are pitting the car. You can just barely see them, but they are inches away from the 19 screaming out of his pit stall and getting hit.
These guys, they get a lot of credit about jumping in front of race cars, but you also have to watch out for the guys coming around the side. I mean, it's amazing that it's as safe as it is sometimes.
And what you have is you have 3 seconds or 2 seconds fuel onlys. You have 9-second 4 tires. You've got 38 cars on pit road. Everybody has a different agenda, and the boxes are slightly smaller here than a lot of racetracks.
Yeah, which leads to some of this carnage we see, right? This is the still shot of the start of this one. There's going to be a couple pauses. This is NASCAR's officiating software we hear, where you see these red X's and things lined. I mean, right here, you got 47 leaving his box, 45 coming in, 42. I don't even know how he got that far over the wall. He probably already had accidents. It's just nuts.
Yeah, John Hunter's parallel parked against the wall, which looks odd. You've got the 99 hitting the 22, the 45 trying to check up to not run into them.
And here's guys we just talked about. This is the guy that won the race, 99 right there battling with him. They're having to battle through all this adversity too through the middle of it.
That's right. That's one problem with picking towards the end of pit road, towards turn 4. When you're doing fuel only, like what you just saw the 22, you're dropping and leaving, and people are still coming in. The 43s, I don't know what
crashes
he's got
from
going
every
on.
angle that we have.
That's not even his pit box. Like, his pit box is 3 behind here. So, there's carnage going on left and right on pit road.
So now we're just going to look further down pit road. We just got done looking way back here at this mess that we just analyzed. But now there's going to be a whole nother group of guys right here in the middle. Let's watch what happens for them.
Yeah, if you see the bright yellow car of the two, he's coming in his pit stall. Chase Elliott and the white car's coming out. Yep, another contact right there. So not only was it happening way back there, it's going to continue. Chase Elliott's ping-ponging back and forth.
Man, you got guys pushed out in the grass. This is all in one stop. I mean, we probably just broke down 9 or 10 cars, all had major pit road contact. Maybe not enough damage to take them out of the race, but certainly stuff they have to worry about. Might have slowed down their stops more than they wanted, which you're coming to probably your last stop. Your track position is going to be super key. This really ended up probably defining a few guys' days. Yeah,
Chase Elliott did nothing wrong that whole time and probably got hit 4 times. Just trying to get out of his pit stall, and people hitting him on their way in, people hitting him when he's in the middle 3 wide, not knowing exactly where the lanes are. You know how it is, Travis. When you're calling your driver out of the pit stall, you're saying clear 1 lane, clear 1 lane. He's going 1 or 2. He doesn't know exactly what that means, and it just gets so jammed up on a tight pit road.
Yeah, I got really lucky to be in stall 1 on this after watching all this, because I didn't see any of it going on behind me.
We were way back here in the carnage, and I just kept thinking, please don't run into any of our guys. We were unscathed, but I'm not sure how.
But like we just talked about the 9 car, Alan's standing here trying to make sure he doesn't go out of his box and KO the 38 car.
That's right.
Then he's looking back here. You got guys 3 wide, some coming in, some going out. I mean, it's hard to even get all that out of your mouth in time as a crew chief when you're just trying to tell him that you're using a stopwatch. You're telling him how much fuel he needs. I mean, there's a lot going on.
And the yellow too, Alan doesn't know if he's coming in or if he was pitted way back there, because he's not around his pit stall. He didn't know exactly. And you don't want to, like you said, it's your last pit stop. You don't want to waste time. You're going to drop and you're going to go. That's one good thing about the next gen body. They're pretty tough as long as you don't hit wheel to wheel. This kind of contact isn't going to matter much once you get on the racetrack.
So not only we have all this contact, we talked about the tight pit boxes.
Yep.
20 car here has an interesting situation we want to break down. Right there, you see the green box that NASCAR puts on. Like I said, this is their officiating software. When that car crosses that line, they have something that indicates to them, hey, he passed right there. This is going to be a penalty. And you're going to watch as we go forward here. The front changer knows, but the rest of the pit crew doesn't quite catch on.
That's right. And a lot of teams you'll see the guy up front behind the wall waving that it's over, try to get everybody's attention. The rear tire changer and the jackmen who are a little further behind, they don't catch on fast enough. And the rule is you can slide long like that, you just cannot service the car.
Yeah, right here is the moment that's a problem. He jacked it up and took that right rear off.
And that's probably the rear tire changer probably had that cue. He saw the car going up in the air. As a former tire changer, I know once the stop starts, it is hard to recognize the voices in your head. You've got enough going on, right? Hit the lug nut, do this, do that. You've got all this commotion going on around you. We've seen all the chaos that's happening on pit road. This is going behind this guy's back. But once he hit that lug nut and started to pull the tire off, and once the jackman jacked up the car, that is a penalty while his nose is still over that green line.
I think it's really interesting here. We're going to watch front changer and gas man. They go, oh no, back up.
Yep.
Gasman gets the message. These pit crews are on intercoms now. They are talking live to each other.
Yeah.
To your point, it's tough in the moment. You're doing muscle memory. You're doing all this stuff in 8 seconds usually.
That's right.
That's not a lot of time to react to anything going wrong. But they were all communicating. A couple guys got the message, a couple didn't. Unfortunately, he got a penalty from this and probably took him out of the race.
Yeah, and a lot of times on top of the box, the crew chief, it's hard to see if it's exactly over the line or not. If you're an inch away from that line, not over it, you don't want to stop your guys because it's going to be seconds added to the stop. So he's not quite sure. That front tire changer, usually the first one that knows, he did know right then, but the rest of the group didn't get the message.
Yeah, he had that advantage. We actually had a stop very similar in this race where I thought we went long, and I stopped our guys and we backed up. And coming back and looking at it afterward, we actually probably would have got a tie go to the runner call. It was right on that green line, and luckily we didn't go forward. But after all that pit road chaos, we got one race over with.
Yeah.
Playoff standings, 2 more to go coming up in Watkins Glen. Going to be a lot to break down in the playoffs next.
I'm Ryan Flores. Join Kim Kuhn and myself each and every week right here at Around the Track. Whether you are going to the racetrack or watching from home, we get you ready for all things national and regional level.
And we'll tell you who and what to watch for each week. Plus, we get you ready for the weekend at the racetrack, and Erica will help you place your bets to win some easy money.
Be sure to check out Around the Track every Wednesday on NASCAR's YouTube channel.
Well, Drew, we talked about the first round of the playoffs, first race, how this was going to be an exciting round. We definitely saw a shakeup in the standings to start.
Yeah, we knew this round was going to be able to move standings around. Someone was going to come out of Atlanta really happy, and there were a few that was going to be pretty disappointed.
So let's kind of pause and take it back in. This is where we all started. This is how the standings line up. We're going to highlight a few key guys here. Kyle Larson, we saw him in that wreck early on. Denny, qualifying problems, ran in the back all day long. Obviously, we saw Daniel Suarez and Joey Logano. These guys are on opposite sides right now. And as the place played out, we saw all this movement. There was a lot of guys moved right there, which is what we expect when everything's reset. But, man, big shakeup.
Early crash for Kyle Larson. We didn't expect him to go from the top over here to the right side of the screen. A big hit for him. One of the guys that I thought was going to have to perform well at Atlanta because he's a good road racer, get himself above the cut line, is right here. Austin Cindric. Austin Cindric, plus 27 now when he was close to that cut line. I think going into the playoffs, people thought he was a long shot to advance. You see him move quite a bit over to the left, get a much better buffer going into Watkins Glen and Bristol.
Yeah, I mean, let's look at it again, like you said. 2 to the good, Austin Cindric. Joey, 2 to the good. These guys had mega days.
That's right.
And I do want to point out right here with Kyle Larson, he's still 15 to the good.
That's right.
This is why you battle all season long to win all those races, get all those playoff points, whether it's a stage win or a race win. Those things add up, and they play into this where you can have that one bad race. He should be down there where, unfortunately, Martin Truex Jr. is in 19 to the bad. But because he has all those playoff points, he's in a good spot.
One crazy thing when you look at it, Chase Briscoe, absolutely miserable day. Wrecked early with Kyle Larson, still only 21 down. Martin Truex, probably a favorite to win at Watkins Glen, only 19 down. So these guys had really bad days. They're not out of it yet after a miserable Atlanta.
Absolutely. I mean, again, we keep saying the buzzwords, but this is the chaos round. We got Watkins Glen coming up next. We've talked about new tire going there, lots of fall off. How's that going to shake it up? We also have a couple track configuration changes.
Yeah, they put rumble strips here off turn 1. And what you can see here off turn 1 is these rumble strips went in. They are actually recessed in the ground. They're not big curbs. They're recessed rumble strips like you see on the interstate, things like that, to try to keep us from going off the racetrack. A lot of times in the last few years, a driver would come off turn 1 and swing way out wide and get a big angle into turn 2 like this, and they didn't want us doing it anymore.
Yeah, and because of that, you're not going to be able to get the rear traction to hook up out there. It's probably going to be super rough. You probably won't even be able to carry a lot of speed out there. You're going to see guys barely come down through this area now because these curbs down here are also pretty aggressive. You should just shoot over them to get out there to make it work, but that yellow line is going to be the preferred groove now, and you're going to have to be a whole lot tighter.
That's right. Going into turn 1 is definitely going to be a little harder on the brakes, so you can't blow through it and run out wide like you used to.
So another section of the racetrack that's changed is this bus stop. We always talk about the bus stop when we come to the Watkins Glen Raceway. The curbs used to be right here where I just drew this red shape around. They're no longer there. We have this whole new setup in this area.
Yeah, one thing Sonoma and Watkins Glen both are known for is great pictures of cars on two wheels. Well, we took an opportunity of that to go away here. Those curbs are gone now, and now drivers are going to be able to kind of shoot straight into the bus stop. A lot of drivers had complained the G loading they see when drivers wear mouthpieces through the race. They get as many Gs hitting those bus stop curbs as they do in major collisions. So for safety for the drivers, they took that first set of curbing away to hopefully mitigate some of that load they get every single lap going through there.
And that's going to change the line they end up taking through this racetrack. It used to be you'd come through here, you'd kind of take a sharp, aggressive angle because you hit these curbs right here. You're airborne. You're pretty much going straight wherever your wheel was pointed. And then you had to make it all the way back around the carousel. Now, you're probably going to come in here pretty straight.
Yep.
You're going to be shooting all the way over here. You're going to be just chasing, not catching this new set of curbing they put in, not hitting this wall. Do not hit that. And then the important part of the racetrack becomes the second part of the bus stop, which has historically kind of been the recovery zone from the first big hit.
Yeah, that's right. What you can see over here is the last part of the bus stop. And what you're going to need to do is go the same mile per hour probably through there to set up for the carousel as you did before. That corner isn't any different. You're going to want to run the same speed to get your car to drive through there. But all of your speed, instead of being kind of knocked off right here getting into the bus stop, it's going to happen up in here where it's tighter, it's more compact, and I definitely think when you try to go through here too wide, instead of having the issues at the first set of curbing, the second set of curbing kind of middle of the bus stop is where that too wide is going to have to settle itself out.
Well, I think we're going to see the chaos continue in the first round of the playoffs here.
Yeah, big playoff shakeup this week. Probably will happen again on Sunday, heading up to the beautiful Finger Lake region of New York. Tune in this Sunday to watch the Cup Series at 3 p.m. Eastern on USA.
Green.